Thank you. Congratulations, Val, on your marae being 5 years fizzy free. At our school, we've been 10 years fizzy drink free. So in the languages of the school I represent today, it's my pleasure to say kia ora ana, malaualele, whakalofalahi atu, talofa lava, and warm greetings to you all. I've been looking at you and you all look like health is really important and fitness is very important, so I am assuming you're all familiar with the famous Nike tagline, just do it. 10 years ago, we borrowed that tagline, we just did it. We made our school water only overnight. Little did we know then of the powerful effect replacing sugary drinks with water would have not only on our children's well-being, but also their whānau and wider community. Oops. It's likely you've never heard of Yendara School in Altara, just across the motorway. You probably know of Altara though. It gets into the media for all the wrong reasons. Gangs, crime, domestic violence, child neglect, fast food outlets, and of course, obesity. Māori and Pacifica make up 99% of our school roll. We're very transient, which means that 30 to 40% of our children transfer between schools each year. We have a Decile 1A rating, which on the socio-economic scale in layman's terms means we are the lowest of the low. Certain politicians and kids' charities would have us believe that the transformation on the scale we have seen is not possible in a school like Yendara. The benefits of replacing sugary drinks with water were immediate. So inspired were we with the benefits to our kids' well-being and how easy it was to become water only, that we challenged ourselves further and also changed what our children were eating. After all, it is what we eat and drink which both make a difference to our well-being. I want you to take a moment to picture this. 1A decile Māori and Pacifica students with healthy school lunches, lovingly provided every day by their whānau. These lunches have everything: sandwiches, fruit, nuts, yogurt, vegetables, and of course, water. Ask any child at our school what they had for breakfast, and their answers will not deviate from eggs, toast, porridge, or Weet-Bix without any sugar. So what inspired us to change what our kids were eating and drinking? We need to go back in time to a decade ago. We were a broken school. We were failing. We were failing the most important people in any school, our children. We had appalling attendance. Many children were missing 50 to 75% of school days. We had major behavioural problems, often aggressive and jeopardising the well-being and safety of others. We had poor engagement in class. Our kids were either too hyper or too lethargic to want to learn. Obesity was everywhere. We just had unhappy, niggly, inactive children. And of course, we had hungry kids. The packaged food and sugary drinks coming into school were empty calories and didn't nourish our children in any way. In fact, no surprise to you, I am sure, and excuse the pun, the food and drink coming into school fed our problem. On my second day at Yendara School, I was stunned and made a message to self that I could not be complacent about what I saw the tuck shop selling. High energy drinks like Powerade and V, along with other cheap fizzy drinks, coloured ice blocks and cheap pies. There were no healthy food options at all. Like many school tuck shops, sadly, financial profit was prioritised over children's well-being. And we wondered why we had learning and behavioural problems. There was no point blaming our circumstances for what we were. Instead, we set out to create the circumstances we wanted. Our transformation began with a very simple idea, simply to get our children to replace sugary drinks with water. Being the outsider who had recently been warmly welcomed into the Endara School whānau, I was expecting some parental flack when we started the new year as water only. After all, Coke and Fanta were the preferred drink of our whānau. I tell you, I had my exit strategy planned. In expecting a parental storm, I had actually underestimated our parents, as just one complaint was received. The effects of drinking water were immediate. Our transformation literally happened overnight. Our kids were happier and more settled in both the classroom and playground. And by becoming water only, we had taken our first step in improving student well-being. Soon, our children were actually regulating what both their parents and teachers were drinking. Our parents constantly tell us their stories, said with so much pride on how their children have changed their parents' drink habits as well as their grandparents and wider whānau. They are justifiably proud to tell us that their homes have also become water only. The next step in improving student well-being, changing what our kids were eating, took a little longer to achieve, simply because we needed full parent support. A question for you. In sending their kids to school with sugary drinks and junk food, were our parents bad and lazy parents? Or were they simply following the expectations of the school? The headlines of the time, a decade ago, could not be ignored, and we used these to educate our parents on the long-term effect of poor food and drink choices. That our children would be the first generation not to outlive their parents due to poor food and drink choices struck a chord. What parent wants to outlive their child? And of course, sadly in our community, we all know someone with diabetes too and the complications it brings to their life. Was there a linear checklist or program or experts that came in to help us? No, it came from here. We simply took a common sense approach and followed our hearts. When you see so much potential in children and they're not able to reach their potential due to diet, we have to make a change. I confess, I was guilty of believing that it was far too late to change what our parents were eating, but knew that we could have some influence on what our kids were eating while they were at school. Something we never planned to change were our kids' taste buds, from actually craving sugary drinks and junk food to actually enjoying healthy food. In turn, our kids have changed their parents' and wider whānau taste buds as well. Last year, a 10-year-old boy called Diamond, appropriately named, for homework wrote me a letter asking if I would consider having a treat day. In his letter, he suggested that the treat day could be sushi, as Diamond considered sushi to be a healthy choice. He went on to tell me he didn't expect any response until 2016 because he knew I was a very busy principal. Diamond Sushi Day has become a once-a-term event and is well supported by our kids and their parents. Once, our kids' taste buds would not have had them wanting sushi at all. Their idea of a treat day would have been a bucket of KFC with a sugary drink to wash it down. We enjoy hearing our parents' funny stories about our kids dictating to them what they may or may not buy at the supermarket because their teacher said so, and this is why we need to eat healthy food. We all know that effective teachers have huge influence on the children they teach, and schools with all the propaganda out there about food and drink have a moral responsibility to teach it well. Once at family picnics and sports days, we would have seen the KFC, fish and chips, McDonald's coming into school with a big bottle of Coke and Fanta to wash it all down. Now we see the healthy picnic hampers with sandwiches, fruit, salad and water. The sense of pride is always etched on our parents' faces as they enjoy providing healthy food for their children. Oops, sorry. A golden moment for me was when I accompanied our school choir to a practice with other school choirs from various parts of Auckland. At lunchtime, our kids came racing up to me, absolutely horrified. And you know Maori and Pacifica children, when they are horrified, they get these enlarged eyes. "Mrs. Dunlop," they said with these huge eyes, "look at that junk food and look at the drinks what that school over there is drinking." I had a chuckle as the tables had turned. 1A decile children were actually making judgments about the lunches from a school in Remuera. With all the sugary drinks and junk food ads bombarding children, schools have to teach the benefits of drinking water and eating real food. Manaaki, not his real name to protect his privacy, transfers into our school from another school. At lunchtime, his teacher asks, "What have you got for lunch today, Manaaki?" "I've got fruit, miss." "Are you sure it's fruit, Manaaki?" "Yes, miss, it says so on the box." "Manaaki, real fruit grows on trees. Did your fruit grow on a tree?" "No, miss." "Well then," says the teacher, "shall we find out together whether your fruit is real?" As I said, with all the propaganda bombarding kids, we have to teach children about real food. That simple idea we made all those years ago to replace sugary drinks with water and make good health food choices has transformed our school. Despite living it tough, 50% of our Year 6 students last year attended school every day. A similar figure is represented throughout the school. We have few, if any, behavioural problems. Visitors to our school constantly comment on the quiet, peaceful tone that permeates our school. While we don't have any baseline data, because as I said, we started from a heart approach, the health nurses report fewer skin infections than in similar schools to Yendara. Anecdotally again, our oral health is reported as better than other similar schools. Sorry about the clicker. And of course, when we have healthy kids, we have thriving kids. Academically, culturally, socially, spiritually, and physically. Our kids positively glow with good health. Mother Teresa, in her work in the world's poorest communities, said, Not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. Well, actually, we see our parents, despite financial hardship, despite cramped living conditions, and despite living in a caravan, do great things with great love for their children every day in the healthy school lunches they provide. We have discovered local change can create a tsunami of change. Whoever you represent today, be bold with your convictions on drinking water and eating well. I close as I opened, borrowing Nike's tagline, "Just do it." Thank you.